I'm not like you, with plans and stuff. I always feel like I'm behind.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Degrassi storylines the show forgot about.
Why do you keep poking holes in my plans? I'm trying to fix us! Why don't you see that?
For this list, we'll be looking at the most notable plot points from Next Generation and Next Class that were either forgotten or poorly resolved. Plot points will be discussed, so beware of potential spoilers. Did we miss your favorite Lost Degrassi storyline? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Paige's STD scare. Does the name Griffin ring any bells? We wouldn't be surprised if your answer is no. Remember when a bunch of the main crew from the early seasons graduate high school and live in that house together? Griffin is their roommate for a period of time.
Any excuse to spend time in Paige Michaelchuk's bedroom, huh?
Can you blame him? I'm fabulous.
There's this whole flirty thing going on between him and Paige that eventually culminates in them hooking up. But Paige soon finds out that Griffin is on HIV medication.
You use protection, though, right?
Of course, but there's no guarantees, and I swore I would never be out of control with a guy again.
Paige, if he used a condom...
He still took a risk, Marco. He took a risk with my life.
She completely freaks out and understandably goes to get tested. But she's told it will take months to get the results. Thankfully, in the end, actually, we have no idea what happens. Griffin pretty much disappears a few episodes later, and we guess Paige was fine.
You're not gonna talk to me?
Maybe in 6 months.
Number 9. Emma's STD. While we're on the subject, let's not forget about Emma's STD storyline, even though the show seemingly did. As she struggles to cope with the tragedy that rocked the school a few episodes prior, she loses herself.
Day before yesterday, you missed your cue. Last night, you didn't even show up to Manny's. Everyone knows you're off or whatever.
As such, she starts doing some things that are pretty out of character for her, like getting intimate with Jay. But then she learns there's an infection spreading through the school that may have begun with him. Experiencing some symptoms, Emma fears she may have caught it.
Orly, you might get a fever or a sore throat.
Hey, Em, you got something to tell us?
Shut up.
In the end, she does tell Snake and Spike that she needs to go get tested, but there's no real resolution. The assumption is that she was sick and eventually got over it, but we didn't see any consequences or fallout whatsoever.
It's a very specific group. And Em, if you're worried, there's a good chance you don't have to be.
Number 8. Mr. Perino's mistreatment of Derek and Danny. Considering Derek started out as the bona fide class clown, this storyline is arguably one of his most serious. One of the teachers, Mr. Perino, starts singling him and Danny out, belittling and essentially tormenting them. He goes so far as to threaten Derek.
Let me make myself clear. Show me some respect, or we've got a serious problem.
Even when he backs off them slightly, he goes on to embarrass another student. In other words, he spends the episode doing the opposite of what an educator should, and proving that he's unfit to work at Degrassi.
Why do you have to be like that, sir?
You have a problem, Mr. Haig? I didn't think so.
Even though Derek reports him, Perino never faces any lasting consequences. He continues to teach at the school for years afterward, as if nothing ever happened. How does that make sense?
Are you sure you want to use that tone with your teacher? Believe me, you don't want me to make your lives difficult.
Number 7. Alex turning her life around. There's no doubt that Alex had some of the best character development on the show. She starts off as this sort of troubled girl who's kind of a villain, but grows into this amazing person that you really root for.
I'm proud of you. It shows real maturity that you came back to upgrade your marks, especially after your friends moved on. You can't become a physiotherapist without a degree, which means I gotta up my marks if I want to get accepted anywhere. So, gotta run.
She cleans herself up, gets away from the toxic people in her life, and focuses on becoming the best version of herself. But she faces setbacks and descends into some old habits.
Say you're at the corner. I've been waiting here for 40 minutes.
I will be soon, Paigey. I just had to, just read the stall section, okay? I'll get there as soon as I can.
We were hoping that in the end she'd find her place and thrive. Instead, her relationship with Paige breaks down, and she goes her own way. We never get to see Alex have the happy ending that she not only deserved, but fought for. It's such a shame.
My mom has a cousin in Ajax. I'll find a job. I got options.
Number 6, Claire's cancer. It's not that this storyline went unresolved, but more so that it wasn't given the attention it deserves.
6 weeks of inpatient treatment, followed by months of oral chemo medication. And if all goes well, it's a 78% survival rate. Yippee skippy.
Don't get us wrong, there are some powerful moments as Claire deals with her cancer. But the gist of it is that she gets it, goes through treatment, and is perfectly fine by the time the new school year starts. Her sister Darcy and stepbrother Jake don't even really check in, even from afar.
And I know I said not to come home. Can you come home, please?
We do see Claire dealing with the aftermath of treatment and celebrating remission milestones from time to time. But the storyline would have benefited from more time and exploration. We're obviously glad she made it through okay, but we wish the whole thing hadn't ended just as abruptly as it started.
All that matters is Eli doesn't see me as a cancer patient tonight.
Right. Eli's email said to treat you like everything's normal.
Number 5, Jane playing football. Jane Vaughn is probably one of the most interesting characters to come to Degrassi. One of her best arcs is when she tries out for and makes the boys' football team.
I played rugby at Lakehurst. It's basically the same except without any padding. I can do this.
And you're not doing this just to meet boys?
No.
Well, the board says I can't exclude you from playing, so...
It's so intense seeing how she's relentlessly tormented by the other players just because she's a girl. Even the coach isn't on her side.
Boys will be boys. I told you, no special treatment.
The whole thing really says a lot about gender roles and equality and feels important. Yet the boys don't really get in any serious trouble despite how badly they mistreat her. And it's just assumed that everyone learns how to get along, but we don't dig into the implications.
She's on my team. Mine too. She is a good player.
There was undoubtedly a lot more story to tell, so it feels like a missed opportunity to say the least. Number 4, Asher's inappropriate behavior toward Claire. When Claire begins an internship, her boss, Asher, attempts to get a little too friendly with her.
Well, I'm happy to teach when the student is as eager as you are.
I am very, very eager.
The lead up to this is actually a bit of a slow burn. We see how they interact at work, how he begins to take advantage of that, and how he ultimately harasses her more than once. She even loses her internship as a result.
It seems your infatuation with Asher has crossed the line.
My infatuation?
Asher filed a report with HR yesterday about your very inappropriate behavior.
But the show really drops the ball on the aftermath. Eventually, Claire reveals that she and an ex-intern, Jennifer, who we learn was also mistreated by Asher, have decided to go to the police. It all seems rather promising, right? It would have been if we'd gotten a follow-up on whether he faced any actual consequences. But alas, we didn't.
You can't blame yourself. You can't let him win. But I already let him win.
Number 3, Jonah's baby. Does anyone even remember this one? The show certainly doesn't.
I'm messed up, Grace.
Yeah, you're a horrible guy.
Though Jonah's character is introduced in season 14 of Next Generation, it takes until season 4 of Next Class for the topic of him having a baby to come up. Jonah mentions to Grace that he has a daughter with a previous girlfriend that he's not allowed to see, and that's the end of it.
So you never met her? Her? Him?
Her. No, and I can't.
We already know that Jonah has had some problems in the past that help define his character, but this reveal seems to come from nowhere and feels haphazard. For something so significant, you'd think the show would have dedicated some more time to fleshing out what happened.
So I just want to talk about that before we talked about sex.
Good talk.
Number 2, Esme's mental health. Esme is never diagnosed with a specific mental illness on Next Class, but it becomes more and more apparent throughout the series that there's something deeper going on with her.
Esme, I think the world of you.
What happens when people start saying other stuff? Darker stuff, stuff that might be true. You freak out and bail then too.
Like what?
Did you know I've been in and out of therapy my entire life?
She isn't simply the villain she's originally painted as. Esme has intense mood swings and frequent breakdowns that none of her friends seem to understand.
Esme, what are you doing?
I'm I'm crazy old Easy, and I'm gonna go to my car and show this young man the time of his life.
Esme, stop!
If only the show hadn't ended before we really got to dive into this, we might have gotten a really powerful storyline for her. We could have gotten to the heart of what was going on and watched her navigate it and heal. Instead, we're left only with what might have beens.
Esme, let go of me!
Think about what you're doing. It's never too late to ask for help.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The many disappearing characters. Everyone remembers Jimmy from Degrassi. After all, the actor went on to become Drake. But does anyone still remember Hazel? She was Jimmy's girlfriend and Paige's best friend. Yet she doesn't return after the 5th season and is rarely mentioned again.
Aden, not really a common name. Maybe in Somalia.
Really? And what's your last name? Oh, right. I don't care.
And what about Terry? We see her recovering from the injury Rick caused in the 3rd season, but after that, she disappears. She's briefly talked about in the 4th season, but she deserved way better than that, especially considering everything she went through.
Look, I missed you.
I know what you mean.
The list goes on and on. Kendra, Dave, and Wesley may as well have vanished into thin air. It's no wonder Degrassi is infamous for sending its characters into a black hole.
It's not funny.
I'm sorry. All right, relax.
I can't. You're cool. It's easy for you. This might be my only chance to ever go on a date. I'd like to get through it accident-free.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.